This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
The views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, we are the ones who encourage you since day one to like and share them on social media and with all your friends and neighbors, because it's time for the African American Scene, presented by Martin County Roofing, an independent insurance agent. Your host, the one and only Rudy Howard.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Always glad to be with you here on a Wednesday night. I'm still coming back, guys. I'm still not 100%, but I'm here to talk with you and to hear what you have to say. And my uncle has been kind enough to bring me here. A couple more weeks, probably I'll be able to be close to 100%. But anyway, I'd like to know why you are still standing with Donald Trump. Please, I won't attack you. I want to know. I honest to God want to know. Because there are so many things wrong here that I don't understand why there's such a strong allegiance to this man. He just pleaded fifth on another legal charge yesterday in New York. He pleaded the fifth. He wouldn't answer any questions. And if you recall, he chastised people who pleaded the fifth, because he said, if you have nothing to hide, why would you plead the fifth? Now he's turned his mind around on that. But I just would like to know, given everything that you see happening, why you are still loyal. And I mean, there seems to be a strong contingent still of Trumpsters who have gotten out, like with the Mar-a-Lago inspection. They have come out and in force trying to find out why they are doing that to their former president. Well, I don't know. Don't you think that he's had a few things that would warrant some inspection and some litigation? You don't think so? The phone number is 340-1590. I'm waiting to hear from you, 340-1590.
You know, we're not very nice to our presidents. Look at Joe Biden. Look at how can we treat him like that? I guess people are told not to shake his hand because he's often reaching out to shake somebody's hand to nobody who's there. And, you know, if this was my grandfather, if this was everybody's grandfather, we'd all be outraged. You know?
And if you look at what he has accomplished since he's been president, my God, he's accomplished an awful lot. If anybody would just take the time to look, the transportation legislation, he got millions of dollars to repair our infrastructure. He got millions of dollars to help people survive in the latter parts of COVID. He's now with this new program attacking inflation and raising taxes of just 15% on those that make the top money. I don't know. It seems to me he does things that I think you would want a president to do. If he's not doing what you want him to do, tell me what you think he should be doing. Phone number again is 340-1590. I'd like to see what do you think he should do? Because I think he's doing a relatively decent job given all that he's had to work with. Now, as far as Mar-a-Lago is concerned, the conspiracy theory birds started flying yesterday, and they're flying again today. One of the conspiracy theories they're sent to me personally is, why did they go into his daughter's clothes? I wrote back to him and said, where did you see that? I haven't seen that. They went into her clothes. Okay. I don't see that. What I see is they went in there and grabbed some boxes. And now let me explain to you the process that this had to go through. They spent a considerable amount of time talking to him about those additional boxes. A considerable amount of time. And when he was reluctant or unwilling to hand over the additional boxes of information, they pursued litigation. A proper path, in my mind. Well, what were they supposed to do? Continue to ask? And for him to continue to deny? And don't think that they did not realize there was going to be a major backlash in going into Mar-a-Lago to get those boxes of stuff. That was in the calculation, that there would be a backlash from his supporters about going into Mar-a-Lago. So, but he seems to think, and I'm surprised that the conservatives don't have this feeling I have. He seems to feel that he doesn't have to comply. The rules apply to everybody else but him. So that is the situation, and Merrick Garland had to decide, are we going to allow him to just ignore the rule of law, or do we pursue the information that we want and that we're entitled to? And I would like for you to look up the what is it called? The Storage Information Act, and it's quite specific in there about what you can keep and what you can't keep, and even the things that you can keep it has to go before the inspector for that area to decide whether or not that's something you can have or not. You can't just arbitrarily decide it on your own. And I think if we know Trump, that's a process that is foreign to him. He can't see himself having to go to someone lesser than him to decide whether or not he can keep the materials that he has on hand. Again, the phone number is 340-1590. So I don't know what you think. I think Merrick Garland was given no choice. I think Trump backed him into a Mexican stand down. And Trump was like, okay, I'm not going to do it. And the DOJ said, yeah, you are. And he said, no, I'm not. He said, we'll see about that. So they got themselves a subpoena. And just so you guys have an understanding of what this process goes through, to get a subpoena to go to the ex-president's house, and I want you to hear this ex-president's house because that's historic. You probably ought to get a copy of the newspaper that frontlines the invasion of, or the inspection of Mar-a-Lago, because it's never happened before, and I don't think it's going to ever happen again to the President of the United States. So I would say to you that I am interested in what your thoughts are. I know there's wild thoughts out there about what happened and didn't happen, but I haven't had any logical thoughts about what their feelings are about Mar-a-Lago. And I can't believe there's nobody listening that doesn't have an opinion about what has happened there. But anyway, in addition to that, I'm still back on the idea of why are you still a Trump supporter? Why are you still a Trump supporter? You can call up and bless me out. That's your absolute right to bless me out. But I'm still interested in knowing why you are a Trump supporter. Once again, their phone number is 340-1590. Okay. I still think we need to give Joe Biden some additional consideration for what he's done since he's been president. He has not had it easy. He's made some faux pas. He had to withdraw from Afghanistan. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He had to withdraw from Afghanistan. I don't particularly like the way he did it, but he had to do it. So that is another thing that he did that took a lot of courage, because presidents have been talking about that for years. And we lost too many of our sons and daughters over in Afghanistan, and they have not been able to pick up the baton to protect themselves. So, but we had to do that. So he's had to make some tough decisions, and he's made them. And he receives nothing but criticism. And I want to know what the criticism is. I guess you could criticism about Afghanistan, but after that, I'm not sure what you criticize him about. Everything else that he's done has been in a very positive direction for the people. And he has taken actions that were for the people. Again, phone number 340-1590. We're going to take a little break here, and we'll be back with the African American scene.
340-1590 to chime in right now.
Hi, this is Rudy Howard, your independent insurance agent. I now specialize in Medicare, health insurance, and small group insurance. That number is 475-8856. Same great service, more flexible hours. Just give me a call, 475-8856.
At Martin County Roofing, we build trust with quality work. I'm Derek Alcius, owner of Martin County Roofing with more than 20 years experience in the roofing and construction industry. Whether you need a repair, restoration, or a new roof, both residential or commercial, we offer a seamless client experience, and we serve the entire Treasure Coast. Fully licensed and insured, we specialize in tile, metal, shingle, or flat roof. Contact us today for a free estimate at martincountyroofing.com.
This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
We now return to the African American scene once again. Here's your host, the one and only Rudy Howard.
And most important, kids started back to school today. My daughter-in-law sent me this adorable picture of my granddaughter on her way into class. And I just looked at it and I just smiled. It was so cute. And the other thing that we have coming up here is in-person voting, in-person early voting, which I believe starts Saturday and runs through the 23rd, I think Carol said. So, and I think it's important for you to get out and vote. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. I need you to get out there and vote, cast your vote, because your vote is important. So, alrighty, and on the lighter side, I'm still trying to find out where Derek is going from the Nets. He has, nobody has said. Let me see if I can find out where he's going. Derek going from the Nets. Well, tell me, what was it like for your kids first day of school today? Give me your thoughts about the first day of school.
Well, when it's the ultimate first day of school, like first day of kindergarten.
I
But
think
then after that first year of kindergarten, then the next year you're going to actual first grade, and then from there it's all progression. But it's so exciting when they're so young. I still have my first grade school picture with a nice little white shirt and a butterfly bow tie and the pompadour parted on the side. Cute little kid. I don't know what happened to him, but but I remember my first grade pictures, and first grade was a big proud thing for all the kids that were there. And first day of school is always the best.
Yeah.
Unless if you're just moving down here from up north somewhere where you haven't been with southern folks. Folks in the south are a little bit different.
Yeah.
Just a little bit though. Not much. We're all exactly the same as far as not DNA. We've got individual DNA, identifiable DNA, but we're all made of the same stuff. And if we could remove all of our skin, guess what? We'd all look alike.
Yes, we would.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Maybe we'll discover that someday. Maybe a great physicist will come along and reveal a great secret that we all need to know.
I don't think so. I think there is. I wish that would happen as well. But I think there is an inherent nature for people to want to look down to someone who's not as good as themselves. And
they often look in all the wrong places for that person, because that person is probably not the person that you think they are.
that's true.
If you think it is somebody you could look down on, who knows? They're probably highly more educated than you are.
That's
They're probably
true.
much more wealthier than you are.
That's true.
And when you go to look down on someone and you have to look up to do it, there's something wrong with that picture.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. But yes.
You can't
that-
look down on somebody looking up at them. That
Yeah.
doesn't work, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say. But I think, we've talked about this more times than I can think about. I think we are slowly headed in the right direction. But it's going to come from our grandkids. Our generation is just too rigid, too stuck on what they think things should be, and I don't see any change happening as far as that's concerned. I would like to, but I don't think so. What are your thoughts?
I like what we've tried all along. You know, you make a friend with somebody, invite your next door neighbor to a picnic, cook something outside, and you know what? That's what won me over my neighbor next door. He was cooking. He told me he was cooking snookhead soup, and I thought, snookhead soup? Oh, I never ate anything that gave such a euphoric feeling, and I don't know why the snookhead soup does that, but there's a euphoria with it that I just don't understand with it being food. I could understand if I drank something out of a bottle, make me feel like that, but that was amazing, and so I went ahead and I started making it, and anything that can slow cook in a big pot's great. Yeah. But snookhead soup, I'll tell you what, it's on the top of my list.
I hear you.
And I guess it's the ultimate soul food, because we need to feed our souls too. I mean, good grief, we're checking out our soul when we leave every day. We leave our soul at home in the closet. We need to carry it with us like it's something we wear.
Yeah. I have to say, I have not had snookhead soup.
You don't know what you're missing.
Uncle Rudy, have you had snookhead soup? Snookhead soup.
If you ever get a chance, it'll surprise you.
Yeah, well, I would try it.
Oh yeah, and after I tried that, I don't think there's any soul food that I wouldn't try. I love food from folks from other countries, how they cook the jerk chicken, the recipes for the spices that go into jerk and curry, the stuff that they cook. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, curry goat. I like the way they cut the chicken. They cut it into, instead of removing the drumstick from the thigh. Like they cut the whole leg quarter, like 3 or 4 cuts, chop, 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 and it's in pieces, and they cook it up curry style.
Yeah.
And that's good. That's real good.
Yeah.
And now, do you remember the hot sauce that I used to get? There was a lady in Port St. Lucie, and she made hot sauce out of, well, the habaneros, the orange Scotch bonnet peppers, and she put a little mango in it. And it'd burn you up, but you'd want more because it tastes good. It burns you up, and then something happens. It does something to where it just doesn't burn anymore, and you can eat all you want after you've had a few bites of it. And yeah, it'll burn you up at first, but you'll want more suddenly. All of a sudden, it's like, well, that was good. I want some more.
No, I wish I knew about that. I didn't
The
know.
closest thing I can find in a store to that is called Calypso sauce because it's orange. It looks like it's got mango in it, but it's got Scotch bonnet peppers, habaneros. And I'll tell you what, it'll burn you up on that first bite. But then when the burn wears off, you'll want some more. It's amazing.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, that's pretty cool.
I wouldn't put it on my cereal, but I put it on just about any sandwich.
I put hot sauce on
Oh, yeah.
vegetables. I put hot sauce on meat.
Yeah.
You know, I put hot sauce on fish. Yeah.
Now, I've stuffed turkeys with lemons and limes or whatever I had. Grapefruit, oranges, citrus fruit inside of a turkey or a chicken and let the whole thing cook. Let it rotisserie with some fruit in it. Or fruit and vegetables. You don't have to stuff it full of bread. Stuff it full of fruit and vegetables. You'll be surprised. That's some good stuff right there. Especially if you use the lemon pepper and the rotisserie.
My favorite way of eating turkey is when Brenda brines a turkey. Have you ever had a brine turkey?
Brine turkey. Now, how do they...
You get the
Isn't
turkey.
that sort of like a marinara sauce you soak
Yeah,
it in?
you get the turkey and you put it in a big plastic container and you fill it full of water and spices and apple cider vinegar,
Wow.
and you let that bad boy sit overnight. You've had it, right? When you cut that turkey, after you cook it, you cut that turkey's Cliff. It's so juicy.
Reminds me.
Juicy. Just,
Somebody gave me a Virginia ham one time, and I took it out of the refrigerator. We're going to cook it up, and I opened up the package, and it smelled like it was rotten. And I called the guy, and I told him, I said, you know, there's something wrong with this ham. It smells awful. I think it's spoiled. He goes, oh, no. You've never had a Virginia ham before, have you? And I said, no, I didn't. He said, cook it up and try it. I cooked it up, and it was awesome. They'll inject salt. They'll inject all kinds of stuff into it, but it's like seasoned, and then it's probably dehydrated. I think pretty much because I don't think they actually cook it because it's like in a sack when you buy it. You have to cut the sack to get into it. But once you get into it, you put it in the oven. You basically just kind of warm it up. Just let it get nice and hot. Man, phew. So I guess the snookhead soup's not the weirdest thing ever. The Virginia ham was a little scary at first because I thought, oh no, we can't eat this. It's bad. It's gone bad. Smell it. And most people would smell it and go, yeah, that's bad. Throw it out.
yeah.
Good thing I made that one phone call though.
Yeah. Well, that's probably because it released some of the juices
Oh yeah.
as it defrosted, and that's what you were getting the juices that were released from the seasonings in the meat. But yeah,
Food's a great idea if you want to make friends with your neighbors
Yeah,
because everybody has come across something that they've never eaten before. Try something different. Don't be afraid to try something different. You know?
yeah,
Remember when you'd go to your friend's house and your friend's mom would cook the dinner and you'd eat the dinner, but it wasn't as good as mom's dinner at home. It was something like it. It was pretty good, but it wasn't as good as mom's. That's the way everybody is. We're all partial to what we're used to eating every day. But what happens when you test those taste buds out on something new for a change. You'll be surprised what's out there, and you'll always be careful to be exploratory when it comes to eating different kinds of foods. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, if it's not saturated with sugar, we all want to stay healthy, but there's some pretty good spice out there, and it does wonderful things to whatever you're cooking at the time.
Well, I'll tell you, my first experience with chitlins was growing up. My father's mother used to cook chitlins, and I'm going to tell you, they stank so bad. And everybody would come together, and they'd be eating chitlins, and I'd be like, no, I ain't eating that.
Now, am I crazy, or couldn't one use chitlins to make homemade sausage? Grind you up some pork and some onions and celery and spices and stuff, and mix it all together, and stuff it in the chitlins and tie them off like sausages. Would that
I
work?
think they could.
I'll bet they could, because I was thinking about that, knowing what they are and how they're textured and all. I'll bet you that makes them great homemade sausages.
So I come home this one time from college. I remember precisely. It was my sophomore year, and I'm in the house. I'm in Aunt Mabel's house.
Oh, okay.
And I'm hungry.
Now, is that your Uncle Rudy's sister, or
That's my
your?
father's mother's sister,
Okay.
Aunt Mabel. She's my father's mother's sister. And she was a sure enough Southern cook.
Ooh.
So I'm there, and they got pig tails, pig feet, pig ears. They got everything with the pig except the oink.
That's true. When it comes to the pig, you can eat everything except the oink.
Yeah. So I said, so I'm looking down and I'm going, oh my God, I'm so hungry. I said, I'm going to eat these damn chitlins today. I went and I got a plate and I ate those chitlins. And I've been eating chitlins ever since.
Ah.
Although you can't eat everybody's chitlins, though.
No.
That's a thing you learn.
One of the things about chitlins is you have to know how to properly wash them. They do need to be
Yes.
washed.
They,
But I'll tell you what, I'll bet you they're good, because I've had menudos. You go to one of the Mexican stores or Mexican restaurants, and there is a soup that's only served up on Saturdays and Sundays, and it's a very, very powerful deoxifier. It'll deoxidize you, or what do they call it? It'll clean you out. Actually, folks use menudos to get rid of a hangover. They get this bowl of this soup, and it's got tripe in it. See, it'll have pig's feet in it too. And what I like about when it comes to menudos and the pig's feet in the menudos is they usually cut the pig's feet with a saw. You know what you get when you slow cook those pig's feet in anything? You get that marrow inside of the bone that solidifies into a jelly.
yeah.
And man, if you're eating some menudos and you get a hold of one of those pieces of jelly, it's delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So you like pig feet?
oh yeah, pig feet. I got pigtails cooking at home right now.
Oh,
When
cool.
I slow cooked them. You know, I get off late in the morning when I'm done with the morning stuff here, and while I was home, I put some pigtails on. And,
Okay.
and I want some pigtails because there's all kinds of things you can do with those too. But you got to let them cook until it just falls apart. And you take a little ladle, and then the oil that rises to the top of the soup, you take that out. I've noticed in the Mexican restaurants, whether you buy a burrito with pork in it or whatever, they cook that fat, and they ladle that fat off the top of the great big pan they cook it in. You'll see them skimming the oil off the top, and when that pork fat is done cooking, there's no grease to it. You know, there's no cholesterol left in it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all gone. we pay attention to stuff like that at our age.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I take my cholesterol pill every night. Take it at bedtime.
Yeah, yeah.
But not before I have the pigtails tonight.
Yes, that's nice. Pigtails.
And pigtails aren't just something that a girl will do with her hair. It's it can be something pretty good if you're not scared.
Yeah. I'm surprised though that you go to the effort to cook them yourself.
Oh yeah, I'll cook a snook head soup if I got a snook head. You cook it until it all falls apart. You don't find anything in there except maybe a couple of there's a big plate on the gill. The gill plate is sort of like a big scale, and then the other scales, they just you cut them all off. You scale it all, and you take the head, and I remove the eyes. Some people just leave them in there and just throw them in the pot and cook it up until it all falls apart. Once it all falls apart, that's the magic mixture right there.
So you've done that too?
Oh yeah. Put a couple carrots and a potato or two in there and just cook it up.
Well, you was a real Southerner, Cliff.
Well, they said, you must have been grown up on a farm because you like liver and stuff like that. I sure do. I wasn't grown up on a farm, but there was a stable that I used to visit that my cousins and aunts and uncles up in Phillipston had. Would go up to the stable once in a while, and would like to pick rhubarb and stuff like that. Would eat up the rhubarb, and when they'd put those little faucets in the bottom of the maple trees to get the maple syrup in the wintertime.
Yeah.
We'd go up there and would go, ooh, it's full of moths. But they'd remove the moths and cook it all up. Ugh. Now that I'd have trouble with. I can eat snookhead soup or tripe. But, when that maple syrup first comes out of the tree, there's a lot of other things with it that have to be cleaned out. So how do we get so into the food now? We're on a culinary rant here.
Yeah, we are. A good rant, in my opinion.
Well, good food's good food,
Yeah. I didn't know they had the spigot on the trees here with the syrup. I thought that was only up in Vermont.
Well, this was Massachusetts. It's close enough for Vermont. Next.
Oh, okay. I
New
thought you
Hampshire.
were talking about Florida.
Oh, no. I wonder if the maple trees in Florida will give sap. I think the winter has to. I think there has to be a freeze. I'm not sure. I don't know much, but I do know what's good and what I'm queasy about, and bugs and the maple syrup. Give me some tripe or give me some snookhead soup.
I hear you.
Well, yeah, but when you see the little bucket and you see all that maple syrup, it's clear when it comes out of the tree. It oozes out of the tree. They just tap it in there with a little hammer and they turn the faucet on and the tree oozes the maple syrup out, and it's clear. But you won't get just maple syrup. You'll get whatever bug happens to get close to the tree, even in the wintertime. They're just under the bark waiting for an opportunity to freeze and fall out or something, But hey, either you've got everybody mesmerized tonight. I figured you'd have got a couple calls because.
Yeah, I think there might be a orchestrated plan to ignore me.
Oh, the
Yeah.
old ignore him and maybe he'll go away.
Yeah, I think there's been a orchestrated plan to not call in to me anymore from the conservatives.
That's all right. What are they going to do when they find themselves on the losing end of another election?
Yeah.
Then, then they're going to be mad at you.
Yeah. Well, listen,
it's not your fault.
Right now, we're seeing what's going to happen in some of these. Jesus, I can't think of the name of it. These initial races for office.
The midterms
and we're seeing some of the non-Trumpers winning. And some of them are showing great promise for winning in the general election. And if it happens, that you have 5 or 6 Democrats win senatorial seats in the upcoming election, that's going to wreak havoc on the Republican Party, and most people are going to go berserk. I have one guy who is constantly arguing with me that majority rule was not the intent of the Constitution. Majority rule is not fair. He and I have gone back and forth on that. But he believes that majority rule is not fair. So,
You have huge states like California and Texas, which Rhode Island probably wouldn't have as many delegates as Texas or California, though. That somebody was trying to make it fair along the ways, and what they did was they took away the way everything else in this life that you vote for, everything that you elect, is usually by majority.
Yes, it is.
Whoever gets the most votes, but not in the Electoral College.
Yeah. The Electoral College is the only area where the most votes do not control the outcome of that election. Jay, how you doing, my friend?
Doing pretty good. Good to hear your voice, and y'all guys making me hungry, man.
Sorry
Hey,
about
man, I was looking around there for something to eat here.
I'm hungry now.
Yeah, you better go
Hitting
get
the spot, man. Hitting the right spot.
Yep.
Anyway, let's get serious. What's going on now? It's really sad that these people can't think for themselves. We got about a third of Americans can't even concentrate or think for their own self, use their brain, and figure out what's going on in this country. And they follow behind this guy like a little puppy dog. And it's kind of sad watching it. You would think there was some kids, like kids growing up, you argue about things and, you want to be part of the group, so you go along to get along. That's what it sounds like. They're worse than little kids trying to get into group, trying to be want to be seen and heard. But it's dangerous because these people got guns. That's the sad part about it. That's the dangerous part about it. And they're challenging the Attorney General. Now, Garland, you couldn't ask for a better Attorney General. The guy is professional. He knows exactly what he's doing. And he doesn't divulge, he doesn't talk a lot about what he's investigating because they're not supposed to.
That's right.
Most Americans, anybody with a half a brain, knows that they don't divulge or they don't talk about case or what they're doing or what they're investigating because it hurts their case when they go to court, and it blows it, and plus it warns the person that they're after what they're doing.
Absolutely.
It's so idiotic listening to them on the TV and whatever, but they still do it, and it's so sad. And what they were doing down there in Florida, right here in Florida, Mar-a-Lago, they had a right to go on there because national security information was tied up in that junk he stole from the White House.
Absolutely.
National security information. And I was told when I was in the service, when I had a top secret clearance and I had dealing with a lot of classified information, they always would tell us. I mean, they almost like brainwashed us into it. They said, if you reveal or talk about or anybody that does not have the same classification or has the classification that you have, and you talk about what you read and see here, you're looking at time in Leavenworth. You're looking at going to a federal prison for most of your life. That's what they used to tell me. They used to tell us that all the time, and it's true.
Well, I looked up this Information Act, and it is a requirement that if you have documents, the government is entitled to review those documents.
Mm-hmm.
You will see whether or not those documents are okay for you to keep.
Right.
I would venture to bet, just because I know Merrick Garland, they made multiple attempts to get him to give them the documents.
Right.
And he decided he wasn't going to do it. So it came to a Mexican showdown.
Yeah.
And Mayor Garland said, okay, all right, so we're going to get him anyway.
No doubt about it. And that's exactly what they did. They had to do it because there was too much at stake, especially with Trump running around with all of these dictators in the world and, praising them. Who knows what he might have done? Who else got access to it?
Yeah.
Who shouldn't see it? And putting the people's lives in danger, maybe CIA agents or military personnel overseas at embassies in different places. Who knows what's going on over there?
Yeah.
With these crazy people, like Audubon, the guy they brought in here, Victor Audubon, they brought in here last weekend. A dictator.
Yeah.
So hungry. And these people in these sides with Putin. He said he's a good guy. So where his mind is.
Yeah.
And he really don't care. And the people that surround him is like that. So that's what they have to deal with here. And I think that sooner or later people are going to wake up and realize what's going on in this country. And it's so sad just watching this. And, just having to deal with it. But that's just what I wanted to talk about today because I'm just watching the TV and it just goes on and on. And newscasters, I'm here looking at CNN, and they even saying, well, there was a raid. It's not a raid. It's not a raid that they went in. They went in there, letting the Secret Service know they were coming. They said we're coming. We'll be there in about a half an hour, and we got to go in there and collect some information, get documents.
Yep.
And they were very polite. They came and they didn't have guns blazing and all that, knocking down doors. Like you see, what they did with the young lady that they shot in the bed while she was sleeping. No knock warrants and all that kind of
Breonna
stuff.
Taylor, yeah, right.
Yeah, they didn't do it. That's ridiculous. But see, this is they were giving him a warning. They really bent over backwards to make him, so he wouldn't have to argue about anything.
Yeah.
But they don't. That's not even good enough for these people. But anyway, I'm sorry. I don't want to be just keep whining about this, but it's just something that's kind of irritating watching it, listening to these people and talking about getting their guns. Well, we're ready to go to war. With who? Who are they going to go to war with?
Well, at some point, and you're talking to one of the great pacifists of all times, I think you have to say, okay, stop talking about it. Do it.
Yeah.
We'll meet you. See how much you mean it, or are you all mouth?
Yeah.
And I know that's not going to sit well with a lot of my listeners, but that's where I'm at. And I am a great pacifist, but I'm at the point of, okay, you're so unhappy with America, you want to take it over? Go ahead, try it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and see if you can do it.
Yeah, you got a point there.
Yeah, and then we'll get that to stop.
Put up or shut up, right?
There you go.
Yeah, okay.
That's the word. You got it. You got it right.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. I'm going to let you go and have a nice evening.
Thank you,
Okay, Jay. Thank you, sir.
Anytime.
All right. Good call every time, isn't he?
Yeah, good caller. So yeah, but I was telling this to my uncle on the way here. I've reached that point where it's like, okay, stop talking about it. You talk all of that stuff, put it up. Put up.
Put up or shut up.
Bring them guns to the
Or you
forefront.
can say it the way that guy with the big mustache says, now put up or shut up.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's see what's what.
Okay.
And then when you run into the National Guard and all the other people that are going to be out there defending.
See how bad you are with your AK then, with
Yeah,
the National
right.
Guard up your neighborhood. I wasn't going to say neighborhood, but I had to say neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
I come awful close, okay. Wow, we're getting close to the end of the show.
Yes, we are.
What can we say to the folks that'll bring them eagerly back next week?
Well,
They want to go back to combative calls. Rudy's never been afraid of calls that people want to confront him and argue with him. That's what conversation is all about. And when you bring someone up for a conversation, that's what we're having here, a conversation.
I got to get my material. I tried to print it, and I couldn't print it. So that kept me from being properly prepared, even though I had read the information. But we'll do our thing next week. I will come up with a topic or two of interest, and there may be things that have happened in the course of the week that allow me to project a subject that I hadn't thought of. So that too can happen. So I would tell you that it is absolutely a pleasure and a joy to be here on the African American scene each Wednesday night. Even though I'm still recovering, and I'm glad you're sticking with me, but we will continue with the African American scene. Your host, Rudy Howard, says, God bless, good night, and take care, and I will see you next Wednesday for the African American scene.
Be sure to check out the archives of this show. There's hundreds of them on YouTube. To get there, just go to WPSLTV.com. It'll take you to our YouTube presence. And you can binge watch you some African American Scene with Rudy Howard. Thanks to Martin County Roofing and independent insurance agent Rudy Howard.